Alright, so dealing with trauma, and this definitely relates to things like post-traumatic stress disorders, etc. So it's very difficult to be an adult and to live a proper life when you are traumatized and you have constant problems in certain areas. It could be relationships, it could be travel, it could be money, it could be fear of security and safety, etc. This really gets in the way of life. So how do we understand and help these kinds of things? Well, recently I have been on a bit of a break from working, and just because I did a bit too much for too many months. And what I found is that through those months I gained a lot of stress and trauma, and now it's kind of unlocking and healing and all that. So what you'll find is that through your daily life, when you do stressful things, when you have to interact with annoying people or difficult situations, dangerous situations, you'll build up stress and trauma, and it's difficult to deal with unless you have those rest days, those days of being alone. Now, we build up stress and trauma when you take on an excess of essentially an excessive situation than you can handle. Just say someone says something really mean to you. If it's more than you're able to handle, it starts to penetrate your energy field, and if they keep doing it or it keeps happening in different ways, it eventually becomes a wound. Throughout childhood you would have had people say certain things, or physically they would have done things to you, might have done things to you, and eventually it builds up into this wound where now you think, well, I'm not, or maybe I'm not good enough to do this, or I'm not a lovely person, or I'm not strong enough to do this, or whatever. And the problem is that it starts to physically as well cause a problem. So words, thoughts, even the thoughts people have against you, again, physical actions, maybe someone jabs you in a certain location, or I don't know, something like that. Maybe you have a bad house which has certain smells and such. These things, they start to cause an effect on you energetically and then physically, until, depending what kind of trauma it is, will depend on where in the body it's located. For example, a mental issue will be located in the brain, while a emotional sexual issue is more located around the bladder and the genitals. An issue of security and safety, it can sometimes be the belly, which is the driving force, but it can also be the root, the lower, the legs, the lower body, the feet, etc. So if we look at the cycles of trauma, we can understand that cyclically, as you go about your day, you will get thoughts, you get feelings, or people will kind of interact with you in a certain way. Life will interact with you in a certain way, depending on your traumas and your elemental makeup, where it could trigger these things, or people could be trying to trigger these purposefully. You get the bad thought loops where you start thinking about this bad thing that happened, or this fear, maybe you have this fear, etc. When that happens, you have to become conscious. You have to which meditation helps you, exercise as well to strengthen the body. You have to become conscious that within your body is something happening, or we won't even get to the body yet. Firstly, something just traumatic is happening. and that you're feeling uncomfortable, and that you're having these, thoughts or experiences or visions, or someone's doing something, because I guess you could say like a physical triggering of a trauma is someone doing something that is traumatic against you, or whatever that's relating to your trauma. You have to become conscious of it and realize that this is happening. If you're in a very bad state, you will start to kind of hallucinate, essentially, where you kind of go into like a daydream and you're unable to handle the situation. Now, and you're basically you're daydreaming, and you're in this weird psychic zone. Now, physically, you need to penetrate that. You need to get to the point where you're physically you're strong enough, mentally you are clean and clear enough through your meditation and such, and that you just have a strong enough consciousness and soul through all the spiritual work, that you get to the point where you can look beyond that and look to your body and feel your body, because the body is like a stone that emanates the ghost or the spirit, so to speak. You want to feel within your body when you are triggered and traumatized, and when bad feelings are happening and bad events are happening to some extent. If you're able to, you want to feel in your body and try to feel where exactly in your body these painful feelings are coming from. And of course, as I said, you want to work on relations. If it's a problem of speech, you're having trouble talking, then focus, see if your throat is having troubles. If it's some issue of anxiety that's causing you anxiety, feel your mid-back, for example. If it's an issue where you start hallucinating, you start having some kind of mental issue, then feel your head. Or you stop seeing things properly, etc. Try to be realistic about this and feel it out. Now, what you need to do is re-stabilize this area by feeding it energy, just focusing on that area softly and gently, focusing and allowing it to rebalance so that you're able to re-stabilize yourself. Now, if you're able to do this quickly enough, if you have just say someone is trying to annoy you or trying to trigger your trauma, they'll kind of realize, oh, I can't trigger this person anymore. At least once you get strong enough and once you heal enough. Similarly, the bad thoughts will you'll see them, you'll feel or you'll see those thoughts and be like, that's kind of silly, that's stupid. Excuse me. I'll give you an example. Excuse me. Example is I was excuse me, I just kind of lost my train of thought. I had this bad experience at work, and whenever I would go home, I would see a person who did something bad to me, and it was quite annoying because I just wanted to live my life, but instead it was just continuously I would just see them in my mind, and that would be horrible. And that happened for weeks upon weeks. From a spiritual point, I believe they were cursing. They had a lot of bad intent focused at me. That's what it felt like to me. So there's that. But what I found I have to do is I felt, and the trauma related to the back side of my head. So kind of in between the ear and in between the back of the head, that kind of, I think of them like the X angle, the angle in between, the corner angles, you can think the corner angle of my head, and it's like a meridian running through there. And when I focus on that meridian and that kind of line and area, what happens is that I clear those thoughts. I'm able to clear that, and that psychic attack and that trauma is not able to hit me or hurt me. Of course, it takes time. It's not a thing where it's just you focus there and it's completely over. You have to heal these areas and the areas from childhood that are still wounded within you, which are stopping you from being able to, have a good relationship, or to make money, or to be strong, or to be intelligent, or to, be social, or whatever it is, to have confidence in yourself and such, and to leave the house and all that. These areas that you have need to be healed. So, and these are just the wounded areas within your body, because wounded areas physically will cause, spiritual or psychological and spiritual traumas within you, and other, emotional and social issues and all kinds of issues. So really, energy work is essentially just healing and strengthening your body is the way to do it. But the idea of when you have a traumatic event, or when you have a bad flashback, and you call it like an emotional flashback of this trauma, you need to stabilize yourself first, and then try to focus where it is in your body. Or if you're not very good at focusing in your body, you can simply just focus on the idea of the trauma, bringing up the bad event. Maybe someone said something bad, bring up that event and focus on it. Feel the bad feelings. Don't let them destroy you. Counteract those bad feelings with your own force of will, your own force of emotional force, and heal those. Heal yourself. Just keep focusing on the event, and almost like heal the event within time and space. Heal the thought within time and space, so to speak. That's a more mental way to do it. There are multiple different ways, and you'll find out your own way. But ultimately, it's confronting the bad thing within you. Confront it. Don't be afraid of it. If it's a physical thing, like some people are afraid of leaving the house, you have to first confront the fear of it within you. Then you have to walk out your house, and when you feel the bad feelings, you have to confront them energetically. Fuel the feeling, and try to do this while you're not hungry or not tired or whatever. It's a lot better that way. Anyway, I hope this helps you to clean out some of your traumas. Just remember that every day we take on trauma unless you're very strong, or you've reached like a perfect state, and you have to learn how to heal them. And we also have to juggle the childhood traumas, which is like a form of debt, and then finally we also have to deal with our ancestral traumas, which is essentially what you think of as genetics, genetic issues and genetic traumas and all that. And that's a deeper form of debt, further in the bones, which you have to work on. Either way, the more you work on it, the better you get, the stronger you get, and the less people can get under your skin, the less reality will hurt you, and you'll just be better off because of it. So anyway, good luck, and of course check links in the description, and have a nice day.